Hello there and welcome back to the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel, where today I do have my preview, prediction and everything that you need to know before Hull City take on Middlesbrough at the MKM Stadium in the first game of 2025 on the first day in 2025. Yes, a New Year's Day fixture at the MKM Stadium as we take on Middlesbrough for the second time this season. Of course, we are now into the return of the season, so we are playing teams for the second time this season, 2024-2025. Of course, things are a little bit different since both sides last played against each other. Of course, back when we suffered the 3-1 thumping at Teesside, it was Andy Dawson's first game as Hull City interim coach, following the sacking of Tim Volter. It was a week, just over a week, until we had our new manager in. Of course, we do have our new manager in, who has had a brilliant start to his life as Hull City manager. First 5 games, recording 2 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw in the process, where Middlesbrough, they're not looking too sharp at the moment for a team that are currently in 6th place. But that is besides the by. So let's go into our injury update. Of course, things are always going to be injury riddle at Hull City. Fortunate enough, the January transfer window opens up tomorrow, so that could hopefully, it will bring in an influx of players to help this side steer away from relegation and end up wherever we end up in this league. Of course, away from relegation is the big ask at the moment. So current injury status, of course, we do know that Balumi and also Miller are out for the season. They're looking to be getting replaced, or certainly some short-term replacement in this January transfer window. Also out on the sidelines, although there's been no official word that he's back. But he has featured on the bench. Carl Rushworth, cover a bit of him later on about the transfer business. He might be leaving the club. Yeah, Carl Rushworth possibly able in contention. I mean, he'll probably be on the bench, won't get featured. Must be fit enough to go on the bench though. But there's just been no official word on his fitness status. Of course, the upsetting news that Charlie Hughes is out for about 6 to 8 weeks after a little bit of an injury problem. I believe that Ryan Giles is also a little bit injured, which meant for the reason why Matty Jacobs started on Sunday, and obviously Louis Cole then came on to replace him at left back. I've not got a full timeline on his injury, but he is certainly set on the sidelines for a little bit. But other than that, no fresh injury news. It seems to be, I'm saying this, but there's each week we're getting a different person picking up an injury. So hopefully, once the quantity of games calms down in the new year, hopefully things will calm down on the injury front and we can maybe put out a full strength team with, of course, the new January additions, which I said we'll cover a little bit on later on. So let me go into my predicted Hull City starting 11, powered by our friends over at Fanhub. Don't know what Fanhub is? What are you doing with your life? Fanhub, it's a free app where you get rewarded for being a football fan for free. Big words there. Free. So yeah, be a fan of your favourite club. Doesn't have to be Hull City. Download the app using my link in the description, or go on the App Store, Google Play Store, whatever, and use my golden ticket code HUL-IZR. It'll let you bypass the wait queue. You get rewarded for using my code, so why would you not do it? Fanhub, you can predict your team's starting 11, you can see all the news, predict 5 games in your team's chosen league, plus plenty more. Checking yourselves at games as well. And for that, you get rewards such as free football shirts, free tickets, free beers. So it's a fantastic app. Go and download it. So, my Hull City predicted starting 11. Just a few changes from the side that started, of course, in the big 1-0 victory against Preston. Not against Preston, sorry. Against Blackburn. I'm getting my games muddled up. It's too many games in a too short of a time period for me to get muddled up about. No, we played Blackburn, we beat, we lost to Preston. So, Panda, of course, retains in net. He had a fantastic performance on Sunday. I want to say Saturday, but it was Sunday. Of course, we're in the Christmas New Year period. We do not know what days are what. Back 4. Louis Cole returns to the back 4. But you'll also notice that Sean McLaughlin, of course, Alfie Jones in centre-back partnership. Alfie Jones had a stellar of a game. Gave him my man of the match on Sunday. But also Cody Drama's in there. I don't think that... I think that Coyle had enough to show about him when he came on to possibly warrant starting over Matty Jacob. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying it could possibly happen. And this is a prediction after all. I do not know which one would start at left back. Of course, when Coyle came on, I was even saying, whilst watching, I was like, oh, Coyle will be going to right back, Drama will jog across to left back. No, Coyle played at left back for the entirety of that, well, pretty much the entirety of that second half. I think he came on in like the 55th minute or something like that. So a bit unsure on the back four, but certainly the centre-back partnership does seem set at the moment with Hughes out injured. Ahead of that, Steven Alzate, I think that he will start this game. He came off on the bench, I believe, on Sunday. And I think just the constant rotation in that CDM role, really, between him, Simmons, maybe Finley Burns, of course. We'll talk about Finley Burns a little bit later on. So, yeah, I think constant rotation, but I think Alzate will most likely start this game alongside Regan Slater. Slater, who got the assist, I believe, for the Longman goal. Picked out a nice little through ball pass for Longman to get the winning goal on Sunday. And I think that he'll start this game along with Gustavo Puerto. Puerto had a good game, possibly one of the better games that we've seen him have in a City shirt, certainly in the past sort of month or two. A real nice commanding force in that sort of number 10 role-y area. Of course, a little bit different under Ruben Sayers' managerial ship. And then this is where the change comes in. Ryan Longman does start, but so does Mason Burstow, which means Kamara, although he did have a good game, I think that he will possibly be dropped to the bench as seen as a super sub, or maybe he could start over a Burstow. But I think that because Longman got the goal, he will possibly get into that starting 11, along with João Pedro up top. It's very interchangeable, that front three, but I think Pedro's nailed down as the starter, and then between Kamara, Longman, and Burstow, you kind of have to change out your wide men. Of course, that will change in January transfer windows. Hopefully, some fresh legs come in and some fresh good legs. So, some other news. I have got Finley Burns there. So we are under 24 hours away from the January transfer window opening, and we've already got some news about possible departures. Possibly Omer could be departing us, as there is a few teams sniffing around him, and of course he's not getting too much game time at the moment and hasn't been doing too well this season, I must say. So instead at the start of the season, I think that Omer will be a standout player for us this season, given that he could possibly get a run in at that number 10 role, which he likes. He didn't get the run in at number 10 role, and therefore he hasn't even been featured in the side recently. Certainly making a few substitute appearances, but bar that, not too much. Finley Burns could possibly be returning to parent club Manchester City, along with Carl Rushworth returning to parent club Brighton Hove Albion. Not too fussed on either of these two. Of course, it does free up two big loan spots where we can bring in two loan players that possibly have a bigger contribution to the side. Both of them haven't been contributing too much. Finley Burns has only had so many minutes, and Carl Rushworth hasn't featured at all, I don't believe. He's been injured. So, yeah, not too fussed on that front. We don't have any sort of inkling on possible incomings. We could possibly only rumour at this point, but nothing sort of set in stone, nothing concrete compared to this point last season when we had Fabio Carvalho nearly pen to paper already. So that's all we know so far on January transfer window. We do know business will be happening quick. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, I must say. The Hull City figures have come out from the 2023-24 season with all the accounts. I'll just quickly run over that. Revenue was up 17% at 21.2 million. Wages was up by 25% to 29.6 million. The average weekly wage was £13.7 thousand. Underlying losses was up to 28% to 26.4 million. Player sales profit was down 45% to 8.3 million. Player purchase was at 8.5 million. Player sales was at 10.4 million plus £30 million post-season. And then loans from owner in year, 27.9 million. So some big figures there. Of course, that is from the last season. Always weird how the accounts get released from last season during this one. It sometimes confuses a few people, but just so you know. So, last meetings between both sides. Of course, we have already met this season, and being just over a month ago. It was at the Riverside Stadium, and we did lose 3-1. Fanhub and Conway grabbed the 3 goals for Middlesbrough, whilst Mason Burstow could only reply with a 71st minute consolation goal for the Hull City faithful. So hopefully things will shape around a bit differently in this game. Last time that we played at the MKM Stadium, though, Hull City managed to pick up a 2-2 draw with goals from Philogene and Seri, and then Azaz and Latala, I believe, scored the other goal for Middlesbrough. So, yeah. It's certainly going to be an interesting one as we look over at the form guide. So Hull City, we are 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw out of the past 5. Where Middlesbrough, they're 2 draws, 1 win, 1 loss. Their draws have been quite big. Of course, a big one against Burnley. Burnley up there in the title contention, or in the playoff contention, so are Middlesbrough. Where Sheffield Wednesday, they've been having a bit of a rocky time. They're still up there in the league. Plymouth, who are dead bottom of the league and have just sacked Wayne Rooney today, well, they drew 3-3 to them, picking up their only win in the past 5 against Millwall at home. So it does seem that their away form is seeming a bit rocky at the moment, and hopefully we can start 2025 how we managed to fail in 2024 by picking up home wins. I think we only picked up about 5 home wins at the MKM Stadium all of 2024, so hoping for a big one, of course, to bounce off that win that we picked up against Blackburn on Sunday. So table-wise, as I said, Middlesbrough are up in the playoff contentions. They're up in 6th place. We're just outside the relegation zone. I say just, we're just on the edge of it. 21st place. A whole 15 points separate us. It's not that much to say that we're down at the bottom end of the table and to say that they're up in 6th. A few good results could propel us up this league. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The main thing at the moment is to steer away from relegation and bring in some positive recruits this January. So, former Tigers, we will be facing off against Marcus Force. He hasn't been getting too much game time at Middlesbrough, so I say we'll be facing off. He'll probably be at most on the bench as an unused substitute. But still, a former Tiger that we will meet in some capacity, possibly, tomorrow. Shared shirts. I've gone for Jerome Boateng. Of course, Boateng known mainly for his time over at Middlesbrough, where he played about 250 games for them in the Premier League and competitions and all sorts. Only managed to play just over 2 seasons, or I think 2 years with us. About 50-odd games, I think, where he only grabbed the 1 goal. Of course, during that time, he was our captain in the Premier League. And another one of them ones where you go, he played for Hull City. Oh, yes, he did. Yeah, there's been a few of them in history, hasn't there? But that's the shared shirt I've gone for today. So, player to watch out for. Funnily enough, the image I've used for him. I've already talked about him about scoring against us last season at the MKM Stadium. Will he do it again tomorrow? That'll be Latila. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, although his surname looks a little bit different. He has been firing so far for Middlesbrough this season. Out of the 24 games in the Championship, he's grabbed 9 goals and 2 assists. He is Middlesbrough's highest top goal scorer for this season so far. Picking up his last goal in that 3-3 draw I talked about against Plymouth. And then picking up the winning goal game before that against Millwall. So he has been picking up a few goals sporadically recently. If he starts, that's the question. He's only started 15 of his 24 matches he's played this season, but I think he was injured for a little stretch, so he wasn't fully match fit to start games, but I believe that he will be for tomorrow, as he has started and played nearly 90 minutes in the past 2 games. So certainly a player to watch out for Middlesbrough. So, score prediction. Well, I do think it's going to be another 2-2 draw at the MKM Stadium in this fixture. Of course, we are live on Sky at 5:30, so who knows what could happen for Hull City. But Middlesbrough, they are seeming to be struggling a little bit at the moment, certainly away from home. And I think Hull City will bounce on from the positiveness that we saw against Blackburn, not only from the performance, but from the players, and looked how they really wanted to play football and play with each other. And there was so much positive energy on that field, I must say. So 2-2 draw is what I'm predicting, with the goal scorers being Mason Burstow and João Pedro. I do think the Tigers will start off 2025 with a big win. And there we go, that's that photo of Adrian Ilajali. I'll ask you to let me know down in the comments what your predictions are ahead of this game, who you think will score, all that juicy goodness. I will have my vlog live out from the game afterwards tomorrow, so make sure that you like and subscribe to stay up to date on that. And plenty more Hull City news and content as we break our way into the January transfer window, where hopefully there is going to be some big key signings for City to help us propel away from the relegation zone and maybe to greener pastures beyond that. I'll see you in the next one. Up the Tigers.